You're watching TelecomTV's exclusive video coverage of the Gen 15 event from Dallas. I'm joined now by Ken Dilbeck, who is VP of Collaboration and Research and Development at the TM Forum. Ken, thanks for talking with TelecomTV again. Since we last met, which was at the MEF members meeting in Vancouver, what has the TM Forum been working on with the MEF? What progress has been made?
Well, specifically, there have been a couple of different areas that we've been working with the MEF on. We've been looking at how do we further align some of the work that's going on in the LSO with the overall TM Forum vision. We've also been specifically working on like the proof of concept that's here on the floor here today, where we have joint membership that are actually taking the concepts that we're working on and the paper that we're working on and taking that down to a very pragmatic approach and actually implementing it. And then they're providing feedback to both organizations on how to improve the work that we're doing, how to draw it closer together, and how to move it forward. We're also initiating some activity around the information modeling that not just TM Forum and MEF are doing, but TM Forum, MEF, and ONF, and hopefully additional organizations are doing around the information model. But how do we as an industry create an environment where our information models aren't as fragmented as they are today, so that as we move into this more end-to-end scenario and the capabilities that we're going to need in this new digital economy to glue all of this stuff together, we're going to have the infrastructure in place to allow that to occur. So we're very excited about that. That's very much in its infancy, but it's something that both several organizations are aggressively pursuing.
Now, we've been speaking this week at Gen 15 about the MEF's vision. You mentioned the TM Forum's vision of the network. Can you articulate that?
Well, one of the things that we have been very much focused on is the fact that the new environment is going to very much require an end-to-end perspective. Whether or not it's a virtualized environment, whether it's a hybrid environment, whether it's in today's environment, we need to be able to glue together a number of different components in order to be able to deliver the new services that we visualize coming as we move forward. So it's that end-to-end story, and we see a lot of harmony with that in a lot of what we see coming from the LSO vision. We have something we're calling the Operations Center of the Future that we're going to be exploring a great deal, headed towards our event in Nice in May. We see a lot of synergy there, and we're looking to see exactly how do we bring those together, how do we get real examples of that on the floor for the exhibit in Nice, how can we learn some pragmatic lessons about how do we draw these things together. We're definitely seeing a lot of synergy with the ideas. It's really what the industry needs right now, and I think it's not necessarily illustration of how the groups are coming together, but it's an illustration that there is a very real industry requirement to address these problems.
Because we're hearing a lot this week that it's not all about greenfield deployments when we look at virtualization and the new technologies coming in. We've got established legacy networks here we have to integrate with, and you mentioned the hybrid approach there.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of the big challenges that we've been exploring with what we call our Zoom project, our Zero Touch our Operations Orchestration Management System. That it is looking at how can we begin to introduce this software-defined network in the virtualized environment and maintain a customer experience that remains very high quality. How does one manage that? How does one aggregate the different types of messages? And there's a very real challenge there, which is kind of the foundation of why we're creating what we're calling the Operations Center of the Future, because it really is looking at how does one manage a hybrid environment, how does one assure that environment, how does one deliver fulfillment and the overall user experience in that type of environment.
I also mentioned about the collaboration, the cross-industry collaboration, all the different groups. We hear a lot about open solutions now. I assume there's a lot more organizations that need to come into the mix and be included in our discussions.
Absolutely, and it's very interesting. when you come out of the telecom space, you kind of know all of the right acronyms, but one of the things we've been exploring is, and have two very large initiatives that are exploring more in the CEM space, customer experience, and we also have what we call our open digital initiative, that there is an entirely different universe of standards organizations that exists out there. Everything from the guys that define the standards for the way buildings are put up, and you think, well, what's that got to do with our world? All of the sensor data that's in those is going to facilitate smart city, and you're going to be collecting all of that information, and you need to be able to say, okay, well, how do I aggregate that? Then how do I send feedback across those mechanisms? And you're seeing, as we move into the whole internet of everything, the number of organizations that are going to need to collaborate is going to increase exponentially. We think we've got a handle on it, not so much. It really is going to be one of the things that I think the entire organization or the entire industry is going to be challenged with, is how do we learn to collaborate and have, what do they call it, cooperation, in this environment, because without that exchange of information, we're not going to be able to deliver the services that people are going to be looking for, the end-to-end user experience. But who maintains the ownership, and how do I protect my IPR? Those are all issues that are on the table.
It's fascinating, and we look forward in the months and years to come to really understand more about this and see the industry develop. But for now, Ken, thank you very much indeed.
Okay, thank you. Enjoy it.